Welcome to the Stoic Golden Tribe, where enduring wisdom meets the strength of presence, and where we uncover the truths modern society refuses to teach men. If you've ever found yourself confused by the shift in a woman's tone, the sudden distance, the quiet loss of admiration that once felt natural and effortless, then it's time to stop guessing. Because a woman's deep respect is not given, it's earned. Not through charm, not through endless compromise, and definitely not through desperation, but through standards. Real, grounded, powerful standards that you live by, not just talk about. In this video, we're going to break down 4 powerful standards that silently command respect from women. These aren't tricks or tactics, they're timeless principles backed by historical figures, real relationships, and the unchanging psychology of human attraction. These are the boundaries that separate a man who is merely liked from a man who is deeply respected. If you're ready to stop chasing approval and start walking in authority, this is the video you've been needing. Like this video, share it with a man who's ready to level up, subscribe for more unfiltered truth, and drop a comment below. Which standard have you mastered, and which one do you need to build starting today? Let's begin. Chapter 1. Emotional backbone, the unshakable. Center of a man. A woman may love many things about a man, his appearance, his voice, his wit. But what earns her deep, lasting respect is his emotional backbone. That unshakable presence in the middle of chaos. The grounded state that says, no matter what happens, I won't be broken. And make no mistake, emotional stability is not silence. It's not suppression. It's strength with control. It's the ability to feel anger, frustration, sadness, or even love, and not let those emotions dictate your choices or your direction. History has seen many men who mastered this standard. Take Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher. He lived during a time of plagues, wars, betrayals, and massive political instability. Yet through his journals, what we now call meditations, we see a man who refused to be dominated by emotion. He wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." And that's exactly the kind of man a woman respects deeply. The one who doesn't explode when challenged, doesn't crumble when life gets tough, and doesn't chase emotional highs like a boy trying to escape discomfort. Let's bring this closer to a real love story. Eleanor Roosevelt, wife of US President Franklin D. Roosevelt, once said something striking about her husband. Franklin never let his illness define him. Even when he couldn't walk, he stood taller than most men I've ever known. FDR contracted polio and was left paralyzed from the waist down. But what Eleanor respected wasn't just his resilience, it was his calm strength in the face of what would have emotionally destroyed most. This is what you must understand. Women are emotional creatures, but they do not respect emotional weakness. They may nurture it in others, but they do not admire it in a man. She may be soft toward your sadness, but she will feel safe with your strength. She may empathize with your pain, but she will fall in love with your calm. If your emotions control you, she will eventually lose respect for you, even if she can't explain why, because when a man can't hold the emotional weight of his own life, he will surely buckle under hers. Emotional backbone also means not being reactive. Many men fail here without realizing it. Imagine this, a woman tests you. Maybe she challenges your opinion, maybe she withdraws affection, maybe she flirts with drama, not because she wants a fight, but because on a primal level she's checking, are you grounded enough to lead through this? Most men react. They defend, they snap, they fall into the storm. But the man with emotional backbone doesn't take the bait. He sees through it, not with coldness, but with quiet certainty. He communicates not just with words, but with presence. I'm not here to play games. I know who I am, and I won't lose myself trying to win you. That tone, firm, calm, unwavering, communicates more than flowers, compliments, or romantic speeches ever could. Now here's the truth, few will say. Emotional discipline is not natural, it's trained. You must build it through suffering, through struggle, through relentless self-awareness. It's forged in the gym when your body says stop, but your mind says one more rep. It's forged in that cold silence when your woman pulls away and everything in you wants to beg, but you don't. You hold. Over time, the man who trains this becomes magnetic. Not because he tries to be, but because he's rare. In a world of overreacting, oversharing, and emotional chaos, a man who is calm, clear, and centered becomes a beacon of strength. Women are drawn to it, but more importantly, they respect it. So how do you develop emotional backbone? You do the hard thing when no one is watching. You choose logic over impulse. You take responsibility instead of blame. You listen before you react. You train your body to discipline your mind, and you learn to sit with your feelings without letting them drive the wheel. Remember this, a man who masters his emotions becomes a fortress, not one without feeling, but one whose feelings serve him, not sabotage him. And when a woman sees that, she feels something deeper than attraction. She feels trust, she feels admiration, she feels safe in your strength. And that, brother, is the root of respect. Drop a comment. Where have you seen emotional strength change the way people respond to you? Chapter 2, Boundaries of Self-Respect. What you never compromise. There's a silent law in life, and in love, that few men understand until it's too late. If you don't respect your own boundaries, no one else will. A woman may be drawn to your charm, enjoy your company, even feel emotionally connected, but if she senses that you will betray your values, your peace, or your self-worth, just to keep her, something deep inside her begins to shift. She may not even be able to name it. But the truth is this, she no longer respects you. Boundaries are not about control, they're about clarity. They tell the world, this is who I am, this is what I allow, this is what I walk away from. The man who lacks boundaries invites chaos. He tries to please, to smooth things over, to keep the peace by sacrificing himself. But all that self-sacrifice eventually backfires. Because when you teach people that your time, your energy, your values, and your emotions are always negotiable, you become forgettable. Let's look at a historical example. Theodore Roosevelt, before becoming the 26th President of the United States, was known not just for his fiery personality, but for his non-negotiable principles. As Police Commissioner of New York, he went to war with the corruption in the police department. His mission made him enemies, cost him friendships, and nearly destroyed his career. But he refused to compromise. Later in life, this very quality made him one of the most respected leaders in American history. Not because he was liked, but because he was clear. Now take that same principle and apply it to relationships. A woman respects a man who sets the tone early. Here's how I live, here's what I accept, and here's what I won't tolerate, no matter how beautiful you are or how much I care. That doesn't mean you become harsh or cold. It means you're rooted. Most men don't set boundaries with women because they're afraid. Afraid she'll leave, afraid she'll get upset, afraid they'll look too demanding. But the truth is, boundaries don't push away the right woman. They attract her. Here's an example. There was a man, let's call him Daniel, who fell for a woman who constantly tested him. She'd disappear for days, flirt openly with other men, and make him feel like he was always one mistake away from losing her. But instead of walking away, Daniel bent his standards. He rationalized it. She's just independent. She's scared of commitment. I just need to be more patient. But the more flexible he became, the less respect she had. Until one day she told him the truth. I just don't see you the same way anymore. Not because he was cruel, but because he was too soft on what mattered. Here's the hard truth: love without respect will never last. So what are some non-negotiable boundaries every man should have? 1. How you allow yourself to be spoken to. If a woman constantly disrespects you with sarcasm, put-downs, or emotional manipulation, and you let it slide, you're training her to keep going. 2. What behavior you tolerate. Do you let cheating slide because you're afraid to be alone? Do you excuse broken promises because you don't want to seem controlling? Every time you excuse behavior that violates your peace, you chip away at your dignity. 3. Where your mission stands. If she pulls you away from your purpose, distracts you from your goals, or demands that you abandon your ambition to keep her, and you give in, you're telling her you're not serious about yourself. 4. What kind of man you refuse to become. If you said you'd never be a man who lies, begs, or manipulates, and then find yourself doing all three to keep her around, she will feel that weakness, even if she never says a word. Women are intuitive. They feel when a man betrays himself. And the moment she senses that you're living without self-respect, her trust begins to erode. So how do you set boundaries the right way? Not with rage, not with ultimatums, but with calm clarity. You say, I care about you, but I care about who I'm becoming more. I want connection, but not at the cost of my peace. If I have to lose myself to keep someone, that's not love, that's dependence. These words, backed by action, carry more power than any argument. They tell her you are not a man who can be moved off his foundation just to avoid discomfort. It's not about being perfect, it's about being honest with yourself and having the courage to walk away from anything or anyone that asks you to live smaller than you were made for. Because once a man sets that standard, not just once but consistently, he becomes something rare, he becomes trusted, he becomes admired, he becomes respected not just by her, but by everyone, and most importantly, by himself. Drop a comment. What's one boundary you've set that changed your relationships forever? Chapter 3. Mission over approval. Why purpose is magnetic. There is nothing more magnetic in a man than clarity of purpose. A man who knows where he's going moves differently. He speaks with certainty. He acts with intent. And he does not crumble when someone disapproves of his path, because his life isn't built around winning favor. It's built around a mission. This is one of the most powerful standards a man can live by, yet one of the least understood by modern men, especially when it comes to women, because we've been fed a dangerous lie that the way to win her heart is to center your world around her, to prove your devotion by making her the sun of your universe. But nothing could be further from the truth. A woman may enjoy being adored, but she respects a man who's not addicted to her approval. Let's look at history. Winston Churchill, during the darkest days of World War II, was offered peace negotiations with Nazi Germany. Some in his cabinet, even members of his own government, pressured him to accept. But Churchill stood firm. He said, "You cannot reason with a tiger when your head is in its mouth." He chose mission over approval. And while his decisions were unpopular with many at the time, they later cemented his legacy as one of the most respected leaders of the 20th century. That kind of clarity, the refusal to be swayed by temporary comfort or emotional pressure, is exactly what separates respected men from forgotten ones. Now let's talk relationships. Every woman who truly loves a man wants to feel chosen, but the moment she feels that you have nothing bigger than her to live for, her admiration begins to wither. Why? Because women don't want to be your whole world. They want to join a man who already has one. They want to feel like they're walking beside a man who's headed somewhere. a man with fire in his chest, a vision in his mind, and a direction that's bigger than her moods, her praise, or even her presence. Think of it like this: when a man lives to please, he shrinks. When a man lives to lead, he expands. This is not about being emotionally detached or cold. It's about understanding that your purpose comes first, not because you don't love her, but because you love with strength, not with need. One of the most powerful real-life love stories that shows this truth is the story of Nelson Mandela and his wife Winnie. When Mandela was imprisoned for 27 years, it would have been easy to give up the fight, to come home early, to negotiate his terms, but he didn't. He stayed loyal to his purpose, to end apartheid and bring justice to his people. Winnie supported him fiercely, but their marriage suffered under the weight of his mission. Yet even after they separated, she never stopped respecting him as a man, because she knew he never abandoned what he was made to do. A woman may not always agree with your mission, she may not always understand it, but if it's real, if it's grounded in truth, if it gives you life and direction, she will feel your strength in it, and that strength over time commands her deepest respect. But here's the part most men miss. Living for a mission means making hard decisions. It means saying no to comfort, no to endless texting, no to chasing drama, no to sacrificing your ambition just to prove you care. You don't prove your love by slowing down your life for her. You prove it by inviting her into a life worth walking through together. And if she can't walk with you, if she tries to distract you, detour you, or demand you make her your purpose, you don't argue. You stand still. You say, "This is where I'm headed. I'd love for you to join me, but I'm going either way." That sentence alone has saved more men than begging, compromising, or pleading ever has, because when you choose purpose over approval, something shifts in your energy. You become grounded, certain, focused, and a man who's focused is a man who's dangerous in the best way. He's not easily manipulated, he doesn't chase what doesn't serve him, and he doesn't collapse under emotional pressure. A woman may test you, she may resist your direction at first, but if your purpose is real and your spirit is grounded in it, she will eventually fall in line or fall away. And both outcomes are blessings. So what's your mission? It doesn't have to be world-changing, but it must be yours. It could be building a business, crafting a legacy, protecting your family, becoming the strongest, sharpest version of yourself. Whatever it is, let it come first. Because when your purpose is clear, you stop begging for validation. You stop moving like a man who needs permission. And women, whether they admit it or not, are drawn to that energy. Why? Because it's rare. And because deep down, every woman respects a man she cannot fully control. So don't fear losing her approval. Fear losing your direction. Because when you stay on mission, you become the man no woman ever forgets. Drop a comment. What's your mission and how has it changed the way women respond to you? Chapter 4. The power to walk away. What makes a man irreplaceable? Of all the standards a man can live by, this is the one that defines him the most, the power to walk away. It's the final test of a man's strength, not in how loud he can speak, not in how long he can hold on, but in how clearly he knows when to let go, with dignity, clarity, and calm. Because here's a truth most men learn the hard way. You cannot be respected by anyone, especially a woman, if you're too afraid to walk away. Why? Because the man who stays, no matter how badly he's treated, no matter how far the disrespect goes, no matter how much peace he sacrifices, becomes replaceable. He's no longer seen as a leader. He becomes just another man who needs her more than he needs himself. Let's step into history. Emperor Charles V ruled over an empire so vast the sun never set on it. But near the end of his reign, Charles did something that shocked the world. He walked away. He voluntarily abdicated the throne, gave up his power, retired to a monastery to live in reflection and solitude. He understood something rare, that real power is not in clinging to a position, but in choosing when to step away. Now let's bring that same concept into a modern relationship. There was a man named Aaron. He loved a woman deeply, but over time she began to test his limits, disappearing without explanation, criticizing him publicly, withholding affection to punish him emotionally. Aaron tried to be understanding, tried to work through it, tried to stay patient. But every time he stayed after a line was crossed, she respected him less. Until one day, without anger or accusation, he said, "I won't lose myself to keep you. I love you, but I love the man I'm becoming more." And he left. She didn't expect it. She thought he would always stay. But that decision, that walk-away power, did what months of arguments and emotional pleading never could. It shocked her into reflection. For the first time, she saw him not as someone easy to replace, but as someone who respected himself more than her approval. That's the kind of man a woman never forgets. Because in a world full of men willing to do anything to keep her, the man who walks away with peace becomes unforgettable. Now, this isn't about playing games or using threats to gain control. Real walk-away power isn't about proving something to her. It's about protecting something in you. It's about understanding this. If love costs you your self-respect, it's not love. If staying costs you your peace, it's not strength. If you have to abandon your purpose to keep her, it's not worth it. There's a kind of strength that only shows up in silence, not in begging, not in chasing, but in the quiet confidence that says, "I'd rather be alone with my dignity than connected in desperation." This is the standard that separates a high-value man from the crowd. It says, "I will not compete for your attention. I will not argue for your respect. I will not fight for a place in your life that I have to keep re-earning through pain. I love hard. I give fully, but when I'm no longer seen, no longer valued, no longer treated like a man, I walk." And that walk is not weakness, it's power. It's the power that commands the deepest level of respect, not just from women, but from the world. Because the man who can walk away is the man who doesn't fear loss. And the man who doesn't fear loss is the man who cannot be manipulated. He moves from purpose, not need, from principle, not emotion, from vision, not fear. And yes, sometimes walking away will cost you the relationship. But what it gives you in return is yourself. And when you live like that, you become irreplaceable. Because you carry something most men don't, a backbone made of truth. A standard that says, you don't have to like me, but if you're going to be in my life, you're going to respect me. It's not arrogance, it's alignment, not hostility, but honor, not ego, but essence. It tells the world, and every woman you meet, this is a man who cannot be bought, broken, or bent out of shape just to keep someone who doesn't value him. So ask yourself today, can I walk away if I need to? Not out of anger, not as a game, but out of strength. If the answer is yes, then you're on your way to becoming the kind of man women admire, men follow, and life bends toward. Because the final mark of a high-standard man isn't in what he can win. It's in what he can walk away from and still stand tall. Drop a comment. When did walking away become the strongest thing you ever did?